Hi crafty friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to walk through this 8.5 by 11 spread I put together. I really wanted to use some stamped images as a focal point in my embellishments. This particular set is from Gemini. It's called Sweet Like Chocolate. I did look to see if it was still available and I do not believe it is. It's a few years old. You can see there I was testing out a bunch of different colors to see what would go best with the papers that I chose, and I ended up using all those extra coffee cups in some Christmas cards that I ended up making early. I'll put another video up later with that project too. But back to this one. So I used my Misty tool to stamp. It really helped get a solid image for the coffee cups. I was having some difficulty getting some splotchy looks initially, but using the Misty and repeat stamping it, I got some really solid, nice impressions. So that would be a tip if you want to get a nice, solid impression from a solid stamp. So here I am pulling some papers from an Echo Park collection. This collection was about coffee, but my spread, although it has a picture of coffee and chocolate, it's really not about the food components. It is about a friendly gesture that a good friend of mine did. When I was sick, she brought me over some chocolate, and I am enjoying a piece of her chocolate with some coffee while I'm recuperating. And I was so appreciative of the gesture and her friendship and the chocolate. Anybody who's going to bring me chocolate when I'm sick can be my best friend. But I wanted to document the story of her doing that. And so my journaling reflects the appreciation. And for my title, I found this color cast design piece in my stash. It's from a collection last year. I don't know the exact month, but it says Thankful. And I thought it went perfect, not with just the colors of the pink roses, but also the gesture that I was very thankful for my friend and what she did for me. These wood veneer hearts that you can see behind what I'm fussy cutting are also from Color Cast Designs, and I thought they worked perfectly in my embellishment clusters. I especially love how the heart over the coffee cup looks like steam coming from the mug. And I thought that was perfect. Just a little added touch. So there I have cut out a tab from coordinating paper. I stamped the date on it, but this date was sort of crooked. And so I ended up cutting out a second tab and stamping my date straighter. It was just one of those little touches that kind of bugged me because it was just crooked enough that I was like, oh, I can't look at this. So I just redid it. So let's see, where am I in this process? So right now, I have not adhered most things down. I am still just trying to place everything around to see if I like it. But I think I've gotten to a point where I am happy with how this is looking. And I'm going to start adhering everything down. What I was thinking about doing there was adding some foam behind the coffee mug, but ultimately I did not because the heart is so thin that even my thinnest foam was going to show behind the heart, and so I ended up just scrapping the idea of lifting it up, and it works fine in the end just the way it is, and so I'm totally fine with not adding the foam. But here I am finally adhering my journaling card and my picture down. These are both 3x4. I mounted the picture with some brown cardstock that I had in my stash, and it's got some pink polka dots that kind of go with the pink in the journaling card. I am just using a Tombow Mono dot adhesive to adhere the acrylic piece and the other embellishments. It seems to work really well for me, even though the acrylic piece is a little heavier. I've had some really good success with the dot adhesive roller. Now, I'm not sure that I mentioned, I don't think I did, this is an 8.5 by 11 spread. I don't usually do 8.5 by 11. It's not one of my go-to. but I'm actually doing a scrap lift off of Victoria Marie Calvin. She did a spread recently on her YouTube that has a similar layout, and I'm doing a scrap lift. And it was hers was 8.5 by 11, so I wanted to go for it and see if I could challenge myself to do that as well. And I think this comes out really great. So I love the size, and I think it worked really well for a smaller photo of 3x4 and then the journaling card. So now I am here adhering my chocolate pieces. These I stamped with a Catherine Pooler chocolate brown ink on some lighter brown cardstock from my stash. Here I have pulled out a sticker sheet from Paige Evans from her Pick Me Up collection, which is also pretty old. And this is an Echo Park sticker sheet from a coffee collection. I needed some embellishments that had this blue color from my coffee cup. And so I ended up mixing and matching a lot of different collections for this. And I think it works out really well. And I'm glad to have pulled out some older pieces from my stash. So this small sticker says happiness, and the other blue sticker near the top says pick me up, and I thought both of those sentiments worked perfect for my spread. Now these sequins were just sitting on my desk. They were not initially going to be part of my spread, but I looked over, I realized that they were the exact same pink shades as the flowers in my paper, and so it was just meant to be. So I have a light, medium, and dark pink sequin in each of my clusters. Just laying them out, and soon I will be pulling out my glue to adhere them down. Also in this sticker sheet where I had pulled off the puffy kind of label sticker, or word phrase sticker, I found these small puffy flowers, and they actually looked very similar to some of the small flowers in the paper. So I thought, perfect, I'm going to pull some of those from the sheet and add those to my clusters. They're pink and blue, they match perfectly. And so this was just some happy accidents that I had, but I was so excited to use things from my stash, so it worked out great. So I am just doing some of the final touches, adhering everything down. I will mention, if you are interested in replicating this, so I mentioned the pink paper is 8.5 by 11. The white inner paper is approximately 8 by 10.5. And then the strips of paper, I don't think those have to be an exact size. I estimated mine based on the scraps that I had left over in this collection, but they both are about 3 inches wide. One is approximately 9 inches tall, while one is 8 inches tall. If you replicate it, just use what you have. There's no need to cut anything exactly to a particular size. Just line it up and see what looks good with your pictures and some of the embellishments you're using, and you can make your strips longer or shorter as you like. So again, I'm finishing up putting down the sequins. And what you'll notice I do in just a little bit, I was noticing that this coffee cup cluster and the cluster with the larger heart and thankful were they're not quite parallel, but they were a little bit more parallel than I would have liked ideally. So I'm starting to try to pull up the coffee cup and the heart to see if I can move them up just a little bit. And ultimately the heart is adhered too well, and it started to rip the white paper. So it was not that big of a deal to rip the paper, so I just left it as it is. I might have moved it up a little bit, but I think it's actually great the way it is. I'm really happy with this layout overall. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this spread, please give me a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel.